Kenya is a boiling pot of diversity. From having 44 tribes, Kenya continues to grow to become a multicultural, multinational, as well as a multi-religious nation. This is the beauty of Kenya, aside from the breathtaking views, the amazing landscape, the beautiful weather, the wildlife, and general beauty of the land. Beauty lies in the Kenyan people, their diversity. From the horizon, it looks as though the sun of unity shines from this land. A glimmer of hope maybe. However, deep down, that sun keeps disappearing.
We're husband and wife.
As my wife, she's from Switzerland and I'm from here, Kenya.
It's a beautiful country. I feel home. Kenya is home now. I'm getting to know a lot of people, a lot of different cultures also, and languages, and I'm just enjoying being here, feeling very grateful for the experience.
What remains are flickers of that light, and soon we might head into the dark abyss of total darkness of disunity and discord. We are already there, and it is all the work of our hands. We set out to find out where really did the rain start beating us. Is the future really as bleak and as blurry as it seems for Kenya? Welcome to the nation of the politics of prejudice. Just how deeply rooted are the causes of our disunity? What are the different kinds of prejudice that bedevils this great nation?
Now, Kabila Kenya, Kabila actually started much more wakati Maori Party ilianza. The Kabila was still there, but not as much. But when we started the Maori Party politics, Ukabila ndio ilienea zaidi. And why am I saying this? At independence, everything this country did, the people even who went to write the constitution in Lancaster House in London, walienda, they were selected from legions in this country, and whenever they were doing whatever they were doing, walikuwa na hiyo umoja, working together. We are talking about people like Martin Sikoko, those people, that group that went there to write our constitution. And when they came back, that cohesion continued to be such that even appointments within the government, they were done according to, regions were considered, because sometimes it was not possible even to have everybody from every tribe in Kenya. There are some people who are just represented according to the regions, because you couldn't get maybe somebody educated enough from every tribe in every region. So when you are represented like in a region like the regions were like now the provinces, so that was a good representation. And when they did that, the country was actually running very well, and nobody was feeling like I am not represented, I am not in the government like it is today.
Kisema pande huo Ipeti, mwanzo tulikuwa na chama moja. Kwanza kulikuwa KANU ambayo ilikuwa imedominate kila mahali. Kama tuseme Ukambani, kulikuwa ni chama ya KANU. Na ile mipangilio ya KANU ilikuwa kabambe, ilikuwa mzuri, kwa sababu ilikuwa tu wanaimba chama moja, KANU, hiyo mambo kama hayo. Lakini kwa sasa wakati kuliingia hii multi-party, ndio mambo ilibadilika, siasa ilibadilika kila mahali. Naona huyu anakuja na chama yake, huyu anakuja na chama yake, huyu anakuja na chama yake, inakuwa against KANU. Unaona? Na vitu kama hizo sikabadilisha siasa sasa. kuanzia mwaka huyo wa 1992 wakati multiparty iliingia sana. Sasa kila mahali, sio Ukambani, tuseme Kenya, siasa zote zilibadilika, sababu kila mtu alikuwa sasa anaimba wimbo yake na korasi yake kwa siasa. Sasa kuna hiyo muungano iko na watu yake, unajua hiyo ni division. Maendeleo chap iko na watu yake, hii CCU iko na watu yake, na kuna hii ingine ya Kalembe ambao alipeleka pande ile. Sasa hii naona inataka kufufuka.
Siasa za mgawanyiko kama mimi naona kama ni mbaya sana, kwa sababu mimi nafanya kazi ya jua kali. Kuna siku tu nilifanikiwa kwenda kwa nyumba ya mtu, tulikuwa kwa matanga, alafu tukapeleka kwa nyumba. Tukapata hiyo nyumba, naye hiyo nyumba iko na picha ya kila mwanasiasa. So wakati tuliingia, yani karibu watu wapikane. Wewe anasema Ruto ndio sawa, wewe anasema Raila, wewe anasema Moi, huyu nani Kibaki, huyu naye anasema, karibu watu wapikane. Sasa kutokea hapo niliona kumba hata picha tu sawa wanasiasa na ukabila. Jambo la pili, kulingana na maisha yangu yote ninafanyanga kazi tu na watu jua kali tu, lakini sitambuliki mimi ni chama gani, na hiyo inasaidia sana, sababu naongea na mtu wa TM, naongea na mtu wa nini wa chama ingine yoyote, sababu mimi nafahamika kama sina party yoyote. Kulingana na the teaching of the Bible inanisaidia kwa sababu inaongea uzuri wa siasa na ubaya wa siasa. Ni mzuri sababu mtu akiongea anaonekana ni mtu mwenye atafanya vitu vingi, lakini ukilingana sasa vitendo ya huyo mtu baada ya kupata hiyo kazi hakuna. The way I've seen this area, most people are calm about politics. They only surface maybe when we have the active politics for general elections. So when you'll find now some people, maybe they may be fond of money, where they may start now following politicians. But mainly they don't talk about politics in many cases.
They are a tribal, those are not politics, because someone is following the brother, someone is following the sister, someone is following his community. But they are not after views, they are not after development, they are not after creating environmental conducive which can make youth to get employment. But they are working for their own selfish end, because even if you go through the appointments, once you become a minister, now you start appointing your own people to chair certain areas in the republic. So that is what I can see. And the trend is growing and growing in that direction.
So I talk a lot about human rights because I saw it firsthand, people being brutalized and everything like that. There's a piece I specifically wrote called "The Flag Has Forgotten Us." It just classifies the 4 colors of our flag and their definition and their meanings, and how as a country we've diverted from them. So I believe that, I will say, democracy is not perfect if it doesn't recognize the losing side after it wins. I've grown up in a place called Homa Bay, that's in the western part of Kenya. And over the periods of election, the first post-election violence I experienced was in 2007. And then the next one was in just a little bit in 2013, but the worst that when I was older was in 2017. So I've seen a lot of injustice in terms of police being brutal, in terms of claims of unfairness in the electoral process. So yeah, in terms of politics and prejudice, I've seen it mostly with police brutality, something that I have addressed in my book. So I believe that we are not yet there as a country in addressing issues of justice, and I think we can do better. They have set up tribunals to address these issues, but I don't think they have done enough. Because if you go to the grassroots, people are still having hatreds among themselves. Kikuyu still hate Luo. Parents telling kids, don't marry Luo, don't marry Kikuyu. And that's a very big issue if you look at it. So yeah.
Kenya, this one I'm always trying to mention that siasa za mgawanyiko watu wanakitakia. Kila tribe inataka mtu wao. There's no unity.
The parties and politics we have, the kind of politics we have is that people take sides according to their own interests and not interests of the public. So if I am your political rival in this election and in the next, I will put aside my beliefs, my policies and everything, and we'll join together so long as I get into power. That's why I believe it's a sort of dictatorship. So it's a few people in politics who put aside their own personal interests in order to rule the state. It would have been perfect if the interests of the public was put first so that we have consistent politics.
Hakuna. Ni wale watu ambao wanatawala ndio wana benefit, because he has a right to kuamua. Bado wanafuata ukabila. We are not united. We are not united.
Tribalism in Kenya is political. If you look at our leaders, they vote and encourage us to vote using political lines. And politics is one major part of how the society runs. So if we are taught from a younger age to look at politics from the tribal lines, we grow up knowing that we are divided as a nation along the tribal lines. So we look at our interests according to our tribes. And that's where the problem comes in. So I believe that if tribes are good, yes, we need to recognize diversity, but we need to accept each other and tolerate each other, not fight against each other when elections come. Or when we start talking about politics, people start saying, I'm Kikuyu, I'm Masai, I'm this, I'm this. So that's totally wrong.
Siasa haina suluhisho. Siasa ikitokea, hata ukipata kama watu sasa kama wanaanza kusungumuza mambo ya siasa, ati watu wanafata fulani. Yani hao ni kuwaangalia tu, kwa sababu hao watu wakianza kufanya hivyo na uingize nena ati hii siasa iko na ama mambo ya siasa haitakikani kuwa hivi. Ni hata wanaweza kukuua hapo. Kwa sababu yani ile wanalenga ndio wanataka wafanye. Ndio ile nasema hiyo kitu ya siasa ina mgawanyiko, lakini mwenye unasoma maandiko ama kama mwenye unasikia maandiko vile inasema, huwezi kufuatilia siasa.
There is the politics of God and religion. And then we are further divided along the lines of class and gender.
My name is Mwangi Maina. I'm a fourth year student at Kenyatta University. I study music technology. I play the saxophone, and I am a founder of Divine Intentions Style. It's a men's style consultancy, and I'm just a young man trying to make it in life. It is second to tribalism. Tribalism first, then classism second.
Religion and politics. So Kenya is in Kenya, as opposed to many other nations right now, the church and the state are one. that means policies, laws passed by the state are directly affected by the church. So you see why a lot of the church leaders have a lot of say in politics. They can affect policies, like the gay rights issue. You see how the church came up strongly and said we cannot accept this, and the law was not passed. That means church and state in Kenya are one and the same. So yeah, I believe in Kenya religion directly affects politics. Our political leaders, before they go into office, they always go to church to campaign, to be prayed for, and so to say. Yeah, so yeah, church and state in Kenya are one.
Yes. Dini ni mtu binafsi kuchagua Mungu wake na kujua vile unachutili na Mungu wake. Sasa hakuna mtu wa kushughulika, unashughulika na mwenzako. Wewe na roho yako na Mungu wako kuokoa kwenda mbinguni.
Yes, wewe ni Mkristo?
I'm a Christian.
Na zile siasa ambazo zinaendelea katika makanisa, unaweza sema nini?
Ubaya wa siasa za kanisa imewekwa ndani. Wanataka hizo siasa, yani wanataka ubinafsi na ukubwa.
Yes.
Na hiyo ukubwa hauna mahali itawapeleka. Nitakana watu wapikanie ufalme wa Mungu, nao wanapikania ukubwa. Wanapikania cheo na mapesa mingi. Lakini hii haina maana. Nitakana tupikanie ufalme wa kutupeleka kwa Yesu.
Huku siasa za kanisa zinajitokeza aje?
Kila mtu anataka awe na kanisa lake, aitwe mkubwa, apate. Wanataka yani nini? Niseme aje kwa Kiswahili. Wanataka ukubwa, yani mtu akiwa na kanisa, anataka apate awe mkubwa, aitwe mkubwa, apate cheo na pesa nyingi sikuche kwake. Hawapikanii ubinafsi wa watu wadogo wenye wako chini hawa.
Yes.
They need, yani wako bright kwa maisha yao, wanatakana wao waonekane wao wakubwa. Lakini sisi wanatusahau sisi wadogo kama waumini.
Yes. Na hii vita ndogo ndogo ya kanisa inaathiri aje waumini?
Inatukera roho. Kwa sababu ikiwa watu wakubwa ndio wanapikania, wanataka vyeo. Na sisi watu wadogo hatutaki atufikie kwa hiyo vyeo. Sasa sisi watu wadogo na sisi tutafanyaje? Sintakana hao wakubwa.
Yes.
Watu furute sisi wadogo tuwe level moja ndio tuende mbinguni. Sisi ndio tunatoa fungo la 10 wakipata vyeo wakienda tena sisi. Undermine. Hatutikani kuna watu tu hapo. Sasa tuko na watoto wenye hawatuwezi, sisi wenyewe hawatuwezi, wanataka wasome.
Yes.
Lakini hakuna mtu mwenye atatutetea. Watoto wetu wanafanya class 8, hatuna uwezo. Hakuna mtu mwenye anatusukuma watoto wetu wasome wafike mbali. Napata watoto wetu tunaenda kwa soko, wanaanza kuuza makaratasi, vitu vidogo. Hatuna uwezo wa kuwapeleka mbele.
Kwa hivyo siasa kama hizo zinaathiri, unaweza sema kwamba zinaathiri pia
foundation ya watoto hao wadogo, young hao watoto wadogo. Kwa sababu unaona watoto wengi wadogo hawasomi. Wanaenda kwa nini? Wanaenda hapo kwa chokora. Yes. Wanaanza kuchingisha kwa vitu vya bombe, vya kunywa pombe, vya kunywa pangi na kuanza kutengeneza uhalifu. Kwa sababu hawana msingi ile imara ya kuwakuza kiroho waende mbele.
Kwa hivyo watu hawaangalii kwamba watu wanakuwa kiroho, wanaangalia
kimwili.
Watu
wako kwa kimwili sana, wakiulimwengu wamesahau maneno ya Mungu, wamesahau kabisa.
Yes, there is racism. I'd love to call it classism if you'll allow, because we see that in Kenya we have tribalism. Then if you go internationally, we have racism. There's a sort of classism that the human race has everywhere and anywhere. So yeah, I've traveled to various countries. I've been to the US, I've been to Singapore, a bit of Philippines and Japan. I think I experienced it most in the US. So they didn't directly come and tell me, oh, you black man, don't stay here. But you see there's a sort of prejudice when you walk into a place. When I was in Boston, I went into a restaurant that is in a predominantly white neighborhood. So I don't know whether they didn't expect to see a black man come into the fancy place. But when I got in, you could see deliberately them looking at me and wondering, what's this man doing in here? And I thought the stairs were just, they were surprised, but they stared at me the whole time I was eating, and that was totally uncomfortable. So yeah, racism still exists, and right now people are not talking about it much because there's a lot of outcry about it, but there are people who still believe in their hearts that the black race is not as superior as the white race or the brown race or something like that. Yeah. So
racism in the present world is not overt. It's not open. It's latent. It's very covert. And again, as I said, it's a question of cultural conditions. Because a country will not have a rule that will discriminate against, for example, blacks, if it's a white country. But the way you are treated, the way law is applied against a white person may not be the same way the law is applied against a black person, a white person, what this tells you is that the racism is not latent. For example, it might be written, do not step here, okay? Then a white person steps, nothing is done. But when a black person steps there, then it becomes, the law is applied. You get it? So it is not overt, it's not, you won't see it. It's not written, but it's there. Still the same things with South Africa, some parts of Germany, and even America right now. You hear of if a black is arrested, it's a different matter than a white man arrested. Still in the same country that started fighting that kind of racism many years ago.
What is your take on gender inequality in society today?
Of course, there is again, I should point out that there is a latent discrimination against women. It is not written anywhere. In fact, the laws that have been passed in most countries are supposed to help women. For example, here in Kenya, we have a policy that girls get a lower grade for entry to the university. At the same time, we have the a third gender rule, that one gender, whatever office, whatever institution, must have 1/3 of either gender. All these are very progressive laws, very progressive ideas and policies that are supposed to balance the equation. But still, you realize there is still latent forms of discrimination, prejudices against women and actually for men. It may not be written anywhere, it may not be said anywhere, but you realize, like now there are more women in film, yet they are paid less. You will realize there might be more women in universities. Right now, Kenya has 3 vice chancellors who are women. But you will realize that even those universities that they lead have more men than women. Why is it that? It is the social construction. Social structures and systems have tended to favor men taking up more external activities. And these are limelight, rather public activities, public figures. And this is the limelight that they shine in, and they are recognized. They are seen, they are recognized, and they are rewarded. And the reward is like, let's say, jobs, appointments, and so on. While women are taking care of homes, they're taking care of families. So you find it's a double burden for the woman to find herself in the limelight, at the same time to take care of the family, to take care of the home, because the society starts from the home. So essentially, she's raising a society, but still expected to fit within that society as a public figure. It becomes a bit difficult, and that is why this double burden pulls them down to the extent that they are not able to be seen, and then public appointments bypass them.
Yeah, selling mboga. And samaki. Yeah.
How does a divided country affect the economies?
Just the way you know, nothing moves positively. You know it. Because some people feel privileged. It depends on which party you belong to. If you belong to the wrong party, as Moi said, siasa mbaya, uchumi mbaya. You know, a government should not select which part of the country to support. It is supposed to develop the whole country. But here, it goes according to the political party, which is unfortunate. The unity of mankind is what will promote the progress and economic growth of a country and the well-being of mankind. Yeah.
Have you experienced racism?
Racism? Of course. I have. Not only racism, but being discriminated for being a woman. We women are doubly disadvantaged because we are black and then we are women. Yeah, doubly disadvantaged. In fact, a woman has to work so much harder to prove their capability. Yeah. But I believe we are doing it, and with education, women will do it. We'll get there.
When you were serving as a treasurer to Maendeleo Wanawake.
Yeah.
What would you say is the danger of a society discriminating half its population, and that is I'm talking about women, in the economic wheel?
Yeah, but that is a worldwide problem. The discrimination of women or the disadvantaged position in which women find themselves, that is a universal problem, whether you are green, blue, white or black. Because you find some of the white women, of course, complaining about doing a job that a man does at a lower salary. That is a universal problem. And women are talking about it all over. Some people, of course, have passed laws that force employers to ensure that women get paid the same salary as men for equal work. That one is universal. Here it is worse because there is politics in it and there is education. Many women are not that well educated, but the few that are really have to struggle to get what is rightfully theirs.
And what's the danger of doing that? Like making women have to hustle for something that is there?
The danger is poor development, because if parents, it starts at home really. Discrimination starts at home. Parents don't teach their children the right habits. If parents recognize that both girls and boys need equal education, it would make a world of a difference. It would. Because many parents, and that's why the Baha'i faith really emphasizes education for all. And if you have to choose, if your economic means is such that you can educate only one, who should you send to school? You know it, you have the answer. You have the answer. But the tradition of actually looking at the woman as a lower being is one of the obstacles we have. Equal opportunity, equal ability. And look at the CPE results. There was a chunk of girls there, 3 to 10. And there was no boy in between. You look, and that's what I usually look at. Girls have the ability, they just need the opportunity, the encouragement. Because you find like when children come from school, the girls are washing the dishes and doing this, nenda lete washa moto makani nini. The boys are playing and energizing themselves, refreshing their heads. Equal treatment, equal opportunity is very important. That's important. So we must recognize that. You will, all those of you who don't yet, will all have families, but treating the children equally is very important. I think sometimes my children blame me for laying too much emphasis on the girls, but equal treatment, equal education is taught by the faith, and therefore we must practice it. Yeah.
People who are special tend to lose. For example, when we have lectures and it's normal units, regular units, and we're being taught by a regular lecturer, you find this guy is sadistic enough to know that he has people who are visually impaired in his class, right? And he'll still have the audacity to go and write on the blackboard, and it's like the spelling is on the blackboard. So you find them asking, they try to ask, and the lecturer is like ignoring them, because there is one who is deaf-blind, and he's like, so the lecturer is like, what's your problem? You're distracting my class, blah blah blah. You get, if you later on consult your peers, or I will send you the PDF. So you find they tend to lose more. And when it comes to group work, doing group work, you find majority of the people do not want to associate with these guys, because they're like, seriously, how is he going to help us? For example, recently, just a few days ago, I was doing an assignment on statistics, and there was this guy. He was allocated to our group by the lecturer, and you know how my group mates, being that they have no idea about special needs, they're like, okay, now what is this guy going to help us with? He can't literally see the numbers. He doesn't know what is going on. Yes, he'll hear, but how is he going to contribute when it comes to math? Because everyone was given a calculation to perform, and he's just seated there idle. So they're like, anyway, the lecturer allocated, let him just sit. And they're like, it's okay for him not to participate. So you see, they are left out. Many a times they are left out. And when it comes to giving opportunities and leadership and making friends, it's difficult, because I have a friend of mine who is disabled, and he wanted to be the class rep, right? And he's visually impaired, so he's like, I think I can be a class rep. So when he asks to be a class rep, this lecturer is like, surely, okay, how are you going to help me? You see, and this is the person who has the willingness to be a leader. No one else, no one who is able, who looks normal, has volunteered, but this guy has stepped out of his norm and wanted to be a leader. So that means them being excluded from the economy definitely ends up losing out on the wisdom, the knowledge these people are willing to bring onto the field. Educating the masses about people with special needs. Many other times people brand people with special needs like maybe outcasts, or they are like a curse on society, or they are a burden. So if we educate people that these are normal people like us, it's just that they are born differently, or circumstances have led them to end up being like that, but they are still like us. They're human beings like us. They deserve to be respected. They deserve to be loved. They deserve to be honored, and they deserve to be given opportunities. I feel the one thing that the country, the administration should do is to educate people on how to deal with persons that have special needs. The way they are advocating for women representation in politics today, and they are trying to say each county should have a women rep. I think each county should have a disability rep, and they have those disability representatives, but you find the person who is the disability rep is actually a normal person. So I was thinking these people should be given an opportunity to stand out. It's their position. Let them lead themselves. They themselves know the challenges they're going through. So maybe we should have a person with special needs representative, and that person must possess a special need, because he or she understands the challenges that they go through.
But is there a hope for a united Kenya? And how will that be achieved?
Nelson Mandela, in one of his speeches, he said that English speaks to the head. The local language speaks to the heart. Chetago aram wala lui arata kwa majetaga muredi wa bori. Nyumete Iran. Then one of my caregivers was a lady called Mama Coletta. Mama Coletta was with me from when I was a young person to my elderly years, and she came from Kisumu. So she taught me Jalu. And my Jalu is not, I would say, unfortunately, there was no class to go to, but I knew a few words.
What can you say?
I can say, how's your day? I can say, Irio Nadi. The response is Erakamano. Idinade. Goodbye, Oriti. And I think by learning these languages or taking a step ahead, I felt that barriers that would take years to break, within one conversation, I was able to get through the wall and be able to connect with someone at an intimate level. So,
Language divides Kenyans. What do you say to that?
I think it's true, and I think I see things from a different perspective. I still feel like, yes, you go to certain areas and you are conscious of the division, but I think deep inside there's certain moments where the entire country is seen to be unified. So one is Kipchoge. When he was running, no one cared what language we spoke. We were all in our rooms. There was no car on the street. We were all watching. When we see our national teams, our rugby teams, we are different, yes, but there is still that essence within us where beyond our languages, which I think has been influenced greatly by politics, we still deep inside know we are Kenyan. And I think I would rather focus on that and say that yes, in certain periods of time, we become conscious of the differences, but inherently, I feel that we see ourselves as one. But there's certain occurrences that force us to look at these semantics. You know, I think it's surface. Others will argue that it's deeply ingrained, which I can understand why. But I think if we really dig inside, and you even see people on the roads and in the workplace, people still want to work together, you know? And there are specific times that the differences come out.
I think we should set aside the beliefs of the older generation, our parents moving up. Because right now you see how, let me just take an example of the universities. We've been brought from different places, brought together to study together, interact. I believe one way of breaking those norms is knowing people individually and not looking at them from the prejudice of tribe or class or societies they come from. So the first, we have a very strong movement if we decide. We can decide to end all this by stopping to look at people with their prejudice, stopping to listen to politicians who want to divide us. So young people, first intermarry. That's the first statement of it's a very long-term solution to this thing. Yeah, it is. And just aside from intermarrying, I believe that if we come together, because it is proven that we can work together without looking at each other from tribe and class. So if we take that up and follow it strongly, we can form a movement that will bring change across Kenya, and we can take these oldies out of the office with their beliefs. So yeah.
I'm a Kenyan, born and raised here. I went to a school for the longest time called St. Mary's, which really helped shape my thinking about life. We were a diverse group of people and friends that we've been together till now, over 14 years. And what I really admired about the institution was the understanding that we were all one. Furthermore, after my studies, I went abroad And later on in years, I formed 2 companies. One is a company called Zana International, that's in real estate, and another one called HBT, which is in Hummingbird Transport, so it's in transport. But I think all in all, my inspiration comes from highly from my religious background, which is the Baha'i faith, which the predominant theme and teaching is the unity of the world, understanding that we are all one, and that our differences should be seen as our strengths rather as weakness. And I think, unfortunately, in today's societies, you begin to see that different groups have been marginalized based on their race, color, nationality, creed. But in reality, we all come from the same source. And I always say that the color on our skin is just like Basco paint. Underneath is all red. We all come from one place. So that's who I am. And I believe that working with people takes you further, and this has been seen within our own institutions, that recognizing through the spirit of unity that when we all come together and we recognize what our strengths are, we are able to go miles ahead rather than working as an individual. I think it is the most important element. When I look at myself as an individual, there's a reason why each individual has strengths and weaknesses. If we only had strengths and we were perfect, there'd be no need of working together. But the understanding that as human beings we are imperfect and that we have strengths and weaknesses means that weakness has to be addressed. How do I address the weakness? Is by working with somebody who has a strength that mitigates my weakness. So when I look at a nation and I begin to see that our nation has been marginalized based on maybe religion and tribe, it means there are certain energies that are being lost. Because maybe I'm not willing to work with someone because of their religion, their nationality, or their race or tribe. It means I've lost an opportunity for collaboration that can allow me to grow faster. So I think for our country, if we want to accelerate, we need to embrace unity. We need to use each other's potential that's ingrained within us, and we will start flying. And I think the country in itself is taking steps forward. I mean, everyone has this negative view, but I think there are positives. People are slowly beginning to work together. So I think it's the most important.
For any country to develop, you need unity to take place, right? And if we are united, it definitely means there's going to be development. In such a case that I might restrict my commodities to only Kikuyus, that is not going to help me develop when there is another tribe or other people that are willing to purchase my goods. So reasons as to why the gospel of unity should be preached is that unity affects all aspects of life, economically, politically, academically. So if there is good academics, definitely it means if I find the people in Kenya united, definitely as a foreigner I would feel more at peace or at ease associating with such a people than people who are divided, because you don't know whose side to fall on, you get. But if the people are united, you actually feel more at peace and more at home. So I think it's good for unity to take place, because for any development, for any growth to take place, there must be unity.
Okay, I'm Ibila Oputa. I'm from Nigeria. I'm 19 years old. I came to Kenya 2014 for vacation, and I came last year to resume academic section. I'm studying environmental health and public health. I'm a second year student of Kenyatta University. Being a Nigerian in Kenya is actually tough, but I get by. There are some people that don't like Nigerians, and there are some people that really don't care. So it depends on your environment or where you stay. There are some places like, okay, I've had a lecturer that they really used to pick on me because of I'm a Nigerian and stuff. And I've had lecturers that actually intrigued to what I can contribute. Since I'm a foreigner, I can bring something new in my course, you understand? Yeah. Applying for pupil pass. going to immigration and stuff like that, like it gets stressful. Maybe somebody else can take 3 months and yours is taking 5 or 6, you understand? Because you're under, prejudice and stuff like that. Maybe they've encountered bad eggs, but they don't really want to know the good eggs, you understand what I say? So that's what happened.
I've not been brutalized, luckily, because when I came to Kenya, I was told not to roam past 7. I'm not even kidding, because police harass people a lot. But I had a friend, an exchange student actually, that came here 2 years ago. He went to M-Pesa to withdraw. Like, I don't know how the story was, but he got an alert from M-Pesa because he was expecting money from a friend, so he wanted to go withdraw. Apparently, it was a false message. So the M-Pesa guy was a soldier, carried him and took him to the police station. And it was on a Thursday. They tried bailing him out. They didn't allow. He was messed up in police station. They had to use like over 40,000 shillings to bail him out. And that was his first week of coming to Kenya. And it was an exchange student. So now imagine what he has gone to say when he went home. So I haven't faced it, but I've heard a lot of stories about police brutality, especially on Nigerians. They call it bribes. I don't know if it's going to the government or it's going to their pockets, but they make money from us. Like, I've roamed around with my friends, like Kenyans, and like they'll tell me, don't speak, don't talk, let me just do the talking, because if they find out you're Nigerian, they'll try to extort us. Because there are sometimes I go, like when I first came to Kenya, I'd ask how much. He's selling this for someone 200, but he hears my accent, he's like, Oga, it's 500. Immediately.
The second time I came to Kenya, I brought food stuff. I didn't really know you could bring plants and stuff into Kenya. So the woman saw my yam and she's like, drop it or you drop $20. And I wasn't ready to drop my yam. I gave it to her. I've experienced tribalistic politics like Kikuyus against, Kambas and stuff like that.
How does that come across for you as a developing?
I feel I don't know how to feel about it too.
Does it affect the relationships you have with Kenyans?
Not really. I won't say it affects my relationship, but I've seen it affect people's like Kenyan relationship. Like, okay, like now you see a Kikuyu coming to tell me, oh, these Kamba people, they are not good, and Kamba is coming to tell me, oh, Kikuyus like money, they will cheat you, stuff like that. I feel as if it's themselves they are harming. It doesn't really harm me.
I find it very sad because I come from somewhere, from a country and maybe also a culture and education where for 29 years of my life we never talked about these things, and then all of a sudden I move here where it's so present, it's so strong, and people, it's like it's its own religion, like it's a big thing. And I find it very sad, but at the same time, it's part of the country, it's part of the culture, and we are going to learn to overcome it, and eventually it will fade away somehow. I don't know. I think it affects people not only in the way they work, but in general the way they behave towards each other and the way they talk also of each other. Because I hear a lot of things they say. For example, oh, I don't know, Durumas are like this, Kikuyus are like that, I don't know, other tribes are like this, like that. And how can we, generalize and say all the people belonging to this tribe are like this, where you don't know the person actually, and you don't get to know the person. You're just assuming, because generations and generations in the past have assumed that this is how they are. Now you just continue assuming these things, and you don't give a chance to the new generations to. It's a very tough topic for me, I must say. I'm still struggling with it every day.
What do you think young people would, the role of young people in all this, like in tribalism?
Of young people?
In addressing the challenge of tribalism.
I'm thinking maybe young people today have also more access to technology in a way of being able to travel around the world also whether it's through social media or traveling on its like by itself. But they might be able also to get to know other cultures, other people, other tribes, and see that actually, how can we, as Lucas was saying, have now a new culture altogether somehow, and leave these things of this is my tribe, my tradition or my culture tells me to do this, because that's how we've been doing it for the last 100 years. But how can we now all together move on and build something different, something better? And I think young people have more access to, have more tools to discover the world than maybe the past generations, and that might be a big change.
If we see each other as equal, because mostly here we judge each other as per the tribal or as per where you're coming from. They say, oh, you see him. For them, they behave like that because he or she comes from this tribe, which is totally very bad. Or for example, we are like a group of friends, and then we know that 3 of us, we are from this culture, and then one person is from a different culture. Why should we talk in our own mother tongue when we know that one person cannot be able to understand, which I feel is bad. We should have like one common language where it's supposed to be used in all the sectors. As much as it's very important to know our mother tongue, but what should be emphasized is that we should see each other equal. And by seeing each other equal is that I can be able to go to a different part of the country and be able to establish a home there. And the same people who also are from that area, they can also be able to move to a different place where actually the culture and the tribe is different, so that they can be able to integrate and be able to understand. Then that way we can be able to counter this thing of tribalism, because with tribalism I don't think we can be able to go anywhere with that.
The politics in our country is heavily tribalistic. In that we don't choose leaders according to what they will do for us. In fact, even if we chose them for what they will do for us, they will still fail us. But we choose them because of where they are from. We choose them because they are Kikuyu, they are Modo Wanyoba, as we call them. From where we come from where I come from personally, my father wouldn't choose to vote for someone else who is not Kikuyu. He does not say that outrightly, but when you read between the lines, he's always talking about people we can understand each other. That is a direct translation. So he thinks that we cannot understand other people who are not from our tribe. So that has really shaped our politics right now. So if you can even hear phrases like, we need another president who is not a Kikuyu. We are not looking at the ideologies, we are looking at now, we had a Kalenjin, we had a Kikuyu, so now we need a Luo, we need a Luya. So that is the politics in Kenya.
To belong to a tribe is holy. I mean, it's an identity. It's a question of identity, and human beings thrive on identity. Once you are, you may need to know what identity means. If you were to leave Kenya and go to another country, you realize you are uprooted. Literally, it's like a tree, you are uprooted. You realize you turn left, turn right, you see people, but you can't socialize. That's how you realize that a human being thrives on identity. And so to belong to a tribe is holy. I find I have never doubted or I have never looked down upon my tribe. Despite the many ways in which it's portrayed as unambitious and things like that. It's a very holy thing. It leads to rootedness. It leads to being sense of belonging, which is very important. So if they meet, it's because they have a sense of belonging, a sense of communality, a sense of togetherness, a sense of belonging, which is a good thing. But how it is used now becomes problematic. If it is used for advancing issues of social and human development, then that is right. if it's used to make politics of money and heckling, becomes different. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If only the people of this nation got to realize the power of unity and how far it would take them, it's only when they'll learn to, it's only when they'll achieve the development they want. Yes, they are developed, but they have not reached that level. They have not reached their peak. Reason being, division is one of the aspects that is really pulling them back. Yes, so I think they should learn to address and see the importance of unity. Only then, only until they realize the importance of unity is only when I feel they will go ahead. Because this country has, a lot of potential for being one of the great world powers, right? Yeah.